To begin by thanking the organizers and funders of this event. It's really a delight to be here. I'm going to be talking briefly this afternoon about a tool for assessing and improving local governance called the Local Governance Performance Index, or LGPI. Now this is a tool that was developed actually by a team of 4 core scholars, so I can't take credit entirely for this. We are a multinational group of political scientists and survey methodologists and statisticians who have developed this tool. I'll say at the outset that I'll be speaking about our first pilot wave that we conducted in Tunisia. And I very much hope that many of you will be in touch with members of our groups. We're in the process of creating reports based on specific results at the level of the government. Reports that look specifically at youth and also at women. And so we would be very much interested in hearing from you and providing you with more information. This is also a tool that we've developed as a survey-based tool, which is designed to be used actually in other countries as well. We're about to field in Malawi, which is a very different context from Tunisia. But we hope this is something that if you're interested in perhaps running in a different country, that you'll also be in touch with us. My name is Lindsay Benstead. I am from Canada, so I hope I somewhat bridge the divide here between the Anglophone and the Francophone world. I am a member of the faculty of political science at Portland State University. I'm also affiliated with Rice University, where I'm a contributing scholar in the policy school in the program on women's rights in the Middle East. I've published a variety of articles on the parliament, as well as women in politics in Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and a little bit in Libya as well. And I should also say that I'm in a school of government where we offer both master's degrees in public policy as well as in public administration. Also in our team is Pierre Landry. He is currently at NYU Shanghai. Ellen Lust, who is really actually the person that got this program started. She's the founder and director of the program on local governance and development, GLD, which is at Yale University and the University of Gothenburg in Sweden, where she's based. And finally, Professor Dr. Malouche here, you can see in the front row. He is a professor of statistics at the University of Carthage. Right, so I've been asked to talk about the topic, or the question, what sorts of things should we be thinking about when we want to design local government systems that benefit people? So how should we be thinking about going forward in a place like Tunisia or elsewhere? How should we think about when we should decentralize or keep a program at the central level, how we should assess and approach inequalities, whether they be across regions, across genders, or generations. And to do that, I want to just pull a couple of pieces of evidence from our tool, the LGPI, and basically try to ask and answer 2 questions. The first question is, first of all, we want to assess to what extent are there inequalities across the regions in Tunisia? And how does the public feel about the provision of public services by the national government? And to what extent is there demand for decentralization in particular localities? As I mentioned, the LGPI is a tool for assessing, benchmarking, and improving local governance. And it basically has 5 modules: education, health, security, state assistance, and public engagement. We put this survey together with the approach that we took was that we wanted to get very specific information about all of these topics, while at the same time not having a questionnaire that's 2 hours long. So we randomly assigned, using tablet computers, respondents to be present in different long modules. So at random, one respondent might ask a variety of questions, might answer a variety of questions, but then have a long section about education and tell all about his or her, every child in the household and their experiences. Well, another person would have all of the questions, but then say something very detailed about his or her experiences at the clinic, going to hospital. The sample in the pilot was approximately 3,600 adult Tunisians. We used probability-based methods using light density maps, satellite maps of the country, to really get a handle on where the population that is living today in Tunisia. And we surveyed in 6 governorates. We chose the seat, the capital of the municipality, and 2 other municipalities. This gave us 18 municipalities. And in these 18 municipalities, we sampled 200 respondents. And by sampling 200 respondents, the advantage that we have is that rather than having a survey that's representative at the national level and where we only talk to maybe 5 or 10 or 15 or 30 people in a municipality, by having 200 people in a municipality, we can actually make inferences about the quality of health or education in that municipality, and this is very important. We, with a team led by Professor Malouche, we recruited 60 interviewers, 18 supervisors, and 6 controllers, and we participated in a training in Hammamet in which we trained our 60 Tunisian young graduates in standardized survey interviewing and sent them out on the field with a tablet computer to have this, to implement our survey. The survey was funded by Yale University and it was implemented in February, March 2015. So now to the question, to what extent are there regional inequalities? I just want to share very briefly a few results from the survey. One result from the module on education. In the module on education, we designed the survey such that when we talk to, so we used random within household surveying. So the interviewer went to the door, knocked on the door, filled out a household listing, randomly selected with the kish table 1 adult to participate. So it might be the mother, might be the father, might be the grandmother. And we asked that individual, please tell me which children, the gender and the age of the children living here. And then for each one we asked, did they have a difficulty, such as a problem getting expelled from school, not being able to register in school. And here what we can see is that of the children living in the household surveyed, 19% on the national level said that they had faced a difficulty at school. This is primary to secondary until the age of 17. But you can also see that we measured a great deal of variation across municipalities. We have Jebel Jaloud, Silianaville, where we found we estimated either 0% of children having such difficulties or just a few percent, to La Marsa, where we had 1/3 of children in the surveyed households, their mother or father reported that they had had a difficulty. So we're noticing that something must be driving regional differences. And we have to discover, is it a matter of funding? Is there something about the institutional culture? But this helps us better pinpoint where we may seek to make reforms. In health as well, we asked a number of questions. Here's a question about perception. This is where we just generally ask people, do you think if you went to the local clinic, there would be a doctor present? Never, sometimes, or all 3. And what we can see is in the top bar, I know this is very small, sometimes up to 1/3 of the respondents in a municipality said they didn't expect to find a doctor ever at those times. Well, in others, like Spec Sud, fewer than 10% thought they would never find a doctor. So again, for health outcomes, we're really seeing a variation. Municipal services, I'll give you the example of safety. We asked people, do you feel safe in your neighborhood at night? At the national level, this is one way of looking at this is that it's positive. 2/3 of Tunisians report feeling safe or very safe in their neighborhood. But there's also variation. Mokneen was perceived to be the least safe. Only 1/4 of people surveyed in Mokneen said they felt safe or very safe. Well, in Kasura Seth, here almost 90% said they felt very safe. So here, based on a sample, it's only one sample. We know there's a margin of error, but it gives us some idea of potential places where we might think about doing local governance reform. Corruption. We also asked people, have you received a traffic ticket? And among those who had, we asked, did you have to pay a bribe? Or did you choose to pay a bribe when you had that ticket? At the national level, among those who paid a traffic ticket, 16% reported having paid a bribe. However, here we can see again a great deal of variation across the country. In Sud and Darfur, the estimate was 0% paying a bribe. In the highest, Jabal Jalud was 20%. So although in Jabal Jalud we saw very good outcomes in education, here based on this sample, which could by random chance be different from the actual mean, we actually saw a very high estimated level. So that might be something we would look at if we're in the local government. Okay, so we notice enormous inequalities both across sectors as well as across municipalities in these different outcomes related to local governance. The second point or question that I want to ask is, to what extent do stakeholders, where here we're thinking about ordinary Tunisians, to what extent do Tunisians want to have decentralization? To what extent do we have buy-in for decentralization? Now here the point that I want to make is that actually both is there public reticence to decentralization in Tunisia, but also it depends where you're living in the country and it depends what sector you're talking about. So here, the LGPI can be a way where we can take a look at where do we have low support for decentralization, and where can we have maybe listening, opportunities to listen to citizens and talk with them and find out why they worry, and how can we think about designing a system where we maybe decentralize one service, but don't decentralize another. So here, I'm going to just give you very quickly a series of graphs, and these are responses to the question where we ask people, who would you like to provide, for example, garbage service? Would you like the central government, the regional governorate, or the local government? Which level of government do you believe is the best to provide and organize your garbage service? And here, I know there's a lot of information here, but here we see that garbage service is I know it seems very boring, but garbage service is so important every day to our lives. This is the service where Tunisians were most supportive of decentralization, where they said yes. Over 80% said yes, the local government should really be providing garbage service. Same with drinking water. By and large, Tunisians at the national level tended to want the local government to provide drinking water and electricity. But as we move to social services, local services, and health, we can see that actually Tunisians say they would really like the central government to provide these services. 65% of Tunisians would like the central Tunisian government to be in charge of health services. 3/4 would like security to be the prerogative of the national government. And 77% think that education should be something that the national government is in control of. So here we can see that in thinking about designing reforms, and we all know that right now is a critical time in Tunisia, both for organizing the elections, the local elections, and for pursuing local government reform. I hope that this talk will encourage us to think about ways that we can both measure and try to understand where we have inequalities, and I haven't talked about gender or youth in this talk. what are some areas that are important for us to be thinking about making services more equal. Although I will say I've looked a little bit at the gender analysis, there's a great deal of equality on a number of indicators in Tunisia. But also, what do key stakeholders like NGOs and ordinary citizens, what do they think about decentralization and who they think are best able to provide services? So I welcome your questions, I thank you for your attention, and I very much hope that if you're interested in knowing more about the results, specific results in Tunisia, or in talking about potentially partnering to conduct this study again in another country, we very much look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.